Alright everybody, so let's go over the list of instructions that we're going to need to make this little book here, this flip book. You will need 6 sheets of 8.5 by 11 paper. I'm just using printer paper. You could probably use cardstock as well. So you will need 6 sheets of that. You will need a ruler, a pair of scissors, a hole punch. I am using a single hole punch, but you might be able to use the 3-hole punch. You just have to move the paper around a bit. You'll need a marking tool. I'm just using a pen. You also need some sort of markers or crayons or felts, something that you can create your book, do some drawing. You also need a piece of ribbon or string or yarn, approximately 40 inches long, and this will be used to tie up our book, to bind our book. Okay, you also need 2 sheets of cardstock, and that's going to be for your front and your back cover. Now if you don't have cardstock, you could use a cereal box, take a cereal box and cut it out, as long as it's 8.5 by 11, so that it matches our paper size. Alright, so let's get started. So one of the first things you're going to need to do is, with all of your sheets of the paper, you are going to mark off lines on here, and we're going to cut them out. Now our measurement for this particular exercise, this tutorial, is we're going to mark off 3 5/8. If you don't know, I'll just give you a quick little lesson here. If you know what this is already, then it's all good, you don't have to worry about it. But if you don't know, between your inch marks, so for example, here's my 3-inch line and my 4-inch line. There are 8 little lines. Each one of these little lines represents 1/8 of an inch. So if we need to mark our paper at 3 5/8, you're going to start here at your 3 and you're going to count over 5 little lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on our paper, that's where we would mark, is on the 3 5/8 inch line. So with your ruler, place it on your paper, line up the edge of your ruler with the edge of your paper, and put a line at the 3 5/8 mark. Move your ruler down and make another mark. So line it up on the edge of my paper and put another little mark. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler and we're going to line up those little marks that we made, and we're going to draw a line. This is going to be our cut line. Take my paper and I turn it around, and again I'm going to make the 2 marks on the 3 5/8 inch part. Line it up, 3 5/8. Take my ruler, line up these little marks, and draw my line. Like I said, these will be our cut lines, and you'll do this marking on every one of your sheets. Take your scissors and just cut right on that line. Okay, and this one. So basically what we're doing here is we're making this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper into 3 pieces, 3 equal pieces. So then this will be the pages for our book. Okay, so now once you've gotten all of your papers cut, you have them all ready to go, what you're going to do is you're going to take your cardstock. Okay, so this is your cardstock, and you want to put some holes on the one edge. Now what I did is I took my papers, my 6 papers for each row, and I lined them up here. Took my hole punch, and with everything lined up, I just made 3 holes for each section. So each section will have 6 little strips of paper. Okay, these will be lined up, and you'll put holes, so 3 holes per sheet of paper, and you'll do that 3 times. Okay? So once you're all done that, you will end up with something that looks like this. Now I've already drawn a bunch of stuff on here. I'm going to put a disclaimer. I am by no means an artist. This was just something fun. So here's all my papers. They're all lined up with my cardstock for the front and the back, and I've hole punched them at the same time so that the holes are all going to line up. And as you can see, I've named my book My Facebook. Obviously this is not the Facebook, this is my Facebook. Okay, so then what we're going to do is with each one of these sheets of paper, you're going to draw something. The first section will be the eyes, the second section will be the nose, and the third section will be the mouth. Now you can change these all up. As you can see, I've got lots of different kinds of eyes drawn. I've got different kinds of noses drawn, and I've got different kinds of mouths drawn. Use your imagination. Do, you know, be crazy, be creative. So I'm just going to do one more mouth. And what are we going to do here? We've got lots of smiley ones. Maybe we'll make a grumpy one. Oh boy. I don't know what I'm doing here. I guess maybe that's kind of like a mustache. Give him a mustache, sure. Okay, and then there. Anyways, like I said, I am not an artist by any means. So, our book is almost ready to be put together. So the last thing you need to do is on the edge where the holes are punched, you want to take and measure in 1 inch. You're going to do this for all of your little pieces of paper as well as your cardstock, front and back. So I'm just laid the edge of my ruler so it's on the 1 inch mark, and then I just folded up the paper. So what this is going to do is it's going to give our book the ability to turn the pages once it's put together. Okay, so go ahead and do that with all of your papers. Now I am going to take and I'm going to put my book together. The easiest way I found to put this together is to remove 2 of the sections. So I'm going to take the mouth away and the nose away. I can get those out of the way here. And I'm going to line up the eyes with the 3 holes on the top of my page. So then I'm going to take my ribbon, and starting from the front, I'm going to just weave this through. So go through the first hole, the second hole, and the third hole. Once you've got there, you can pull your string or ribbon or whatnot through. Make sure you leave, you know, good 4 inches or so of an end hanging out so you can tie it once we're done. So once you've gone through the first 3 holes, now you can take your nose section and put it in the book, lining up those holes, and then you take your ribbon and you continue going through the holes, through the next 3 holes, to encase, to put the, so you want to go through all the 3 of those holes to make sure that the page for the nose section is all caught up in there. Now we'll take our mouth section and insert it in here, again lining up the holes as best you can. Take your ribbon and putting it through, and then going through the back. Fingers don't want to work here. And then down to the bottom. So now what we have is our book like this, okay? So we have our ribbon running one direction. I want you to take this ribbon and we're going to weave in the opposite direction so that our ribbon ends up at the top here, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm just going through in the opposite hole. And running this back up towards the top. Okay. If your ribbon or whatnot gets twisted around, it's okay. This is still going to work, and it's still going to be a great little project for you to do. Okay, so all the way up. Keep going, weaving these back and forth. This is creating the binding for our book. Okay, so I'll come back up through here and down through here. So one more to go, and I'm going to stop at the second hole from the top of my book. What this will do is this will give me, oops, a spot where I can tie this off, okay? So here's what you should have so far. It should look something like that, okay? So now I'm just going to tie this off, put a knot in here. Don't pull it too tight. This is just paper. If you pull it too tight, you will rip your paper, and then all your work will be for naught. So, oh my gosh, I am having a hard time tying a knot right here. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm just going to put a little bow in here, and then I'm going to trim my ribbon down so that it's not quite so long. There we go. So here's our little book, all done. So when you open it up, you've got your front cover, you've got all your lovely drawings of your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. Now you can start flipping through and changing what your character looks like. I mean, be creative with what you're doing. Like, it's totally up to you. There's lots of different variations of this you can do. Something fun would be to do animals. You could do a book of this where you have cat eyes and a elephant nose and a, I don't know, like a cat mouth or something. I don't know. Anyways, this is our little book. It is called My Facebook. So I hope you really give this a try. It's a fun little project that you can do. It doesn't take a whole bunch of time, and you really should, for the most part, have all of the supplies at home already, so you don't need to go out and buy anything for this project. I hope you have fun with this. If you do make some, I would love it if you would share it over on my Facebook page, Krista's So Crafty. Thank you and happy crafting.